What is good, everybody? I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is doing well, fine, and fantastic. I am, a few days ago, I hurt my foot, so I haven't been able to really kind of walk and work out. But it's getting better. It's getting better, and I'll be back to working out and all that kind of stuff. But did you get your workout in? If not, did you at least eat right? Let me turn up the brightness here. Clean up my camera a little bit. All right. Get the temperature right in here. All right, so let's jump into it. So I'm gonna talk about dating after 50. I probably talked a lot of this I've already talked about, but people want to hear my opinions. So I'm gonna put up a picture of Vivica A. Fox. I hope I didn't delete it. Vivica A. Fox, in comparison and contrast to, gosh, the rapper is escaping me. Oh my God, he's escaping me. Whoever it is, I put on the screen here. It's escaping me right now. And I had to look it up. David Banner. So David Banner, I guess, wants to have kids. I don't know if any of these stories are true, but let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just assume that they are true and that they are accurate and all that kind of stuff. So people are contrasting that, and people were kind of in the comment section of what I was watching. They were kind of contrasting that. Why is it okay for this guy at 50 years old to start his family, and Vivica A. Fox is now 60 and she wants to do the same thing, or at least not maybe start a family, but look for a husband or whatever. So I want to kind of dive into the differences. So I get a lot of emails, and I think there's a more mature crowd that follows me concerning this thought process about what's going on. And not long ago, I was asked a question about my guys who are 45 and over who essentially don't want a platonic friendship in a woman. And I did a video about that, about men and women being friends and all that. So you guys can go back and watch that video. But the other thing is, so we're talking about, this one is not platonic relationships, but this is just, romantic relationships. I had to stop and comb my beard. It was looking kind of raggedy. So, what happens? So a lot of times, and what I've noticed a common theme is that the ladies will say that they want something different, substantial, long-lasting, substantive, something serious, something real, rather than just one night stand, booty call or whatever. And they want something real and substantial. And a lot of times they'll say that they're turned off immediately when the guy that they're talking to starts talking about sex. That's the first thing that comes out of his mouth, or they want to send different funny pictures of themselves and their glory and all that kind of stuff. So I would be willing to bet that if you really think back, if you're in this mature crowd that I'm talking about, and you think back to your time in being 20, 25, 30, 29 and under, I would say, that the men, their conversation hasn't changed. I would be willing to bet. Now, I've never been come on to. Well, that's not true. Have been come on to by men. I don't entertain. I don't entertain that. But I don't get into the weeds of the conversation. But I would be willing to bet that if you're a woman and you really think back to the time you were 22, 25, 27, 28, and some guy was in your DMs or talking to you or met you at a club or something like that, almost immediately he would bring up something about sex, or let's get this in, or something like that. Depending on your environment and all that, but I guarantee you, within the first couple of conversations on the phone or whatever, it was coming up. But now, as a mature person, you think that that's offensive. You're offended by that. Why is this guy talking to me like this? Why can't we do something else? Something happens to ladies around the age of 40, right? They start to change psychologically. I remember studying this when I was a freshman in college, when I took a psychology class. About and it was like a life course kind of thing. Women kind of change. They change around 40, 45, maybe sooner, 38 or so, something like that. And they start to think more mature. They really come into their own, right? That they become, and that's why I think a lot of times people talk about men and their midlife crisis. I think I don't know if they classify that. I don't remember that. But a lot of times I think the women are going through the same thing, this type of midlife crisis or midlife change where they want something different. They don't want to run around. They want something substantial, right? So therefore they leave their husbands, or they, they just want something different. Sometimes they want something exciting. So they want to go back to quote unquote the streets. It just changes. So men and women, unfortunately, go this type of thing, and sometimes it can upset the family. But also, I think that there's something that comes along a little bit later where, you turn 40, 45, and now you really want something substantial, right? You don't want to run the streets anymore. You don't want to just have a bunch of fun. You want somebody to settle down with. And so it becomes a turnoff to you when and if you are you're met with somebody who's coming with the same energy that they had when they were when they were in their 20s and 30s. And you're thinking, well, why doesn't this guy grow up? Why does it have to be about this? Why can't we have a good conversation, this, that, and the other? So the change is essentially within you. It's not really within men. Don't get in the comment section saying crazy stuff. I'm not talking about every single 100% of the people. You show a lack of understanding, thoughtfulness when you comment about that. When you say things like that. Of course, I'm not talking about 100% of the people 100% of the time. But I do think it's a majority of the time, and this is what is occurring, is that there's this change, and you want something more substantial. So the change is within you, not within the men. So it may become more difficult, particularly for you to be attracting a type of quality man that you want when you're 45 plus. Not so much because of your age, but because you have less to offer that man, or you want to offer less to that man. If you say that you are a boss chick, you've got this and you've got that and you've got your own money in this, and there's no place for a man, I've talked about this numerous times, if there's no place for a man, why should that man hook up with you when he can hook up with somebody who's younger, more yes, pliable, agreeable? Why would he not hook up with that? Right? So now you're more demanding, refusing to do less, refusing to do more. Don't want to cook as much, don't want to clean as much. We can hire a maid, hire somebody to come in and fold our clothes. That is not something that I think the vast majority of men 45 plus are looking for. Somebody's always texting me when I'm doing these. I don't think that that's the vast majority of they're not looking for that. You're not offering him anything. So he's still thinking about the things that he wanted then. Okay, here's what I want from you. You're a 45-year-old woman. Let's just say the guy's 50. Let's just leave it there for giggles. 45 plus woman, and you meet a 50-year-old guy, and he's coming to you with the same energy that he did if he was 30 and 25. And you're like, how come he hasn't matured? How come he hasn't grown up? How come he's still after this? Well, his thought process hasn't changed. It might have slowed down. But he's not looking for. You're not offering him that. Well, why don't we just want to sit down and watch TV or have a conversation or go island hopping or go visit this and that? Sometimes guys want to do that, and sometimes they don't. But the question is, how come he doesn't want to do it with you or a woman within your age range or group, or why doesn't he want to do it with other? Why would he want to do it with you when he can do it with somebody younger? And listen, I understand that women cannot say the same thing. Why I choose this guy, whatever. But I think the majority of times in that situation, a woman would say, besides the sex that a younger guy can offer me, he doesn't have anything to offer me outside the bedroom. He's not mature. He probably doesn't have his money together. Yada, yada, yada. So if that's what you're looking for, that's what you're looking for. But to the guy, I mean, so this is a troubling issue. A guy who's 50 might have the maturity, the wisdom, life experiences, and all that you crave and looking for. But he doesn't have. He may not want you because you're talking about this stuff about I got a 3-month rule, 6-month rule, 8-month rule, 1-year rule. You got to marry me. Listen, you hold to your standards. I made a video about holding to your standard. I'm not telling you to lessen your standards or anything like that. You got I agree. You got to hold to them. I'm just trying to give you an understanding of what the dynamic is and what the thought process is. If I'm a guy, and I have a if I am a 50-year-old guy and I have the choice between you as a 45-year-old woman and 35-year-old woman, which one would I choose and why? And if that 35-year-old woman is willing to do more domestic duties, which is essentially what most men want, it doesn't matter what, I don't want to say it doesn't matter. Research, statistics, and surveys continue to show this, that men, when given the opportunity, would rather have their wives working at home or working from home or not working at all. If given the opportunity. So that shows you that your money, your boss chickery, your level upness, your 401ks is not as valuable as you think that it is. And I've had conversations with numerous ladies, on numerous occasions who are coming to this revelation and saying, guys really don't care that I have these degrees. They really don't care about, my CEO suite. My education. They really don't care about that. Particularly for this age group that I'm talking about. The guy's got it together. He's got it together. He's not looking for that. That is not impressive to him. And you think that, in thinking that, man, I can contribute to the finances. I can do this, do that. All right. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now. Sometimes it's not worth the headache. I would rather my woman be home. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth the mental and emotional stress that you have to deal with on your job. I would rather you not have to deal with that. That's just me. Other people are going to look at the world differently and are going to process things differently. But I'm telling you, I would rather do things. I'd rather have that. So this is the dilemma of the David Banners, Vivica A. Foxes, the ladies out there who and it also can be seen. I want to say this right here. It also can be seen as kind of insulting, because when you take a look at Vivica A. Fox, right, here's a woman who was really, one of the most beautiful women to me. She was absolutely gorgeous. And instead of, kind of settling down, she was enjoying herself. She had money. She was, fairly decent acting career. People call her a B actress. Sometimes she was a B actress. Sometimes she was starring some A roles. It's hard for our women, black women, to get those, big time roles. But she was definitely a good looking woman. And now she's talking about 60, and I want a husband, and he's got to bring this and that and be able to pay my bills and this, that, and the other on it. And I don't mind looking around or dating out. And so you played all around, and now you want some guy to come in and wipe you out. I mean, that's really insulting to men. I mean, if you're not some type of really, I hesitate to use these words, but beta, a word that rhymes with hockey puck. If you're not one of those types, I mean, if you are one of those types of guys, you wouldn't mind a woman who's been quote unquote passed around. I don't know, all the people that she's been with and all that. I'm not, but that is not impressive to men, and it's just different. It's different for men. So David Banner, who's successful, has said, I want to start a family, and I guarantee the women are going to be lined up around the block to have his baby. 35 and under, lined up around the block to have his baby and move in, and I'll give you a couple kids and this, that, and the other. Are women lined up? Are men lined up? Even young men lined up to wife up the Vivica A. Fox? I'm sure somebody's out there's going to do it. But what kind of guy is that? What kind of guy is that? So it's insulting for a woman to say, I'm 45 years old, and some guy, and what do you think about this? Some guy is now coming at me, talking to me all kind of crazy. And, he just wants to lead with sex, and it's such a turnoff. Well, the question I'm going to ask, and I'm sure somebody's going to write in the comments, I've always been like this, and I've never been that type of woman. But there are women like that. You have to acknowledge that there are women like that who have enjoyed themselves, 44 and under, who have enjoyed themselves, and now are looking to have something substantial. So these other guys that you had one night stands with and you just played around with, and I quote oftentimes Rebecca Lynn Pope, who is now currently married to a pastor of a church, but she told some crazy. And if I was her husband, I would have told her, listen, don't ever say what you said again in these videos. Don't ever say it again. And she said some things like, I was with the rappers, and I was with the bad boys, and I was with the drug dealers, the scammers. This is coming out of her own mouth, and now she's got this nice guy pastor. That's insulting. So this other guy didn't have, took you out, flew you in trips, had you in nice cars, and you were doing whatever you're doing with them in order to keep your value to him. We all know what I'm talking about. In order to keep your value to him. But now you want to settle down and tell other women about this, that, and the other, and have this podcast and tell other people that you were with this type of thing, and the bad boy, he was no good, and now I need this nice guy. That's why I make videos about not being a nice guy. It's insulting. You might not think that it is, but it's insulting. And it's insulting when somebody says to you, and I can understand that you as a woman, you want to grow past that stage. You want to forget that misremember and forget that stage of your life. And I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. But you know that this type of woman exists, whether it was you or not. You know that this type of woman exists, where they just play around and they want to misremember and forget their old times, and now they want something substantial. And I don't want to just talk about sex, because I can get sex from anyone. I can get sex at any time. But now I want something substantial. I want to be able to learn something. I want to be able to grow. I want to be able to build. I want to be able. But you weren't saying that when you were on your back and on your knees for this drug dealing scam. No, I got to wait 6 months and 3 months and wait to put in a ring on your finger. It's crazy. It's insulting. So a 50-year-old guy is like, listen, I want, and the 50-year-old guy is the same. He might have slowed down, but essentially it's the same thing. He's looking for the same thing that the 30-year-old guy was looking for. But now you're mature. You've grown out of that. And you think that he ought to grow out of that too. So again, it's a question I've asked numerous times and numerous occasions. What do you bring that 50-year-old man? I'm going to try to remember to put up a screenshot of somebody who wrote something in my thing. What do you bring this 50-year-old man? Yes, I'm taking into account his physical prowess, his health, and I advocate for men to get checkups, work out, go for walks, lift weights at 50, at 60, at 70, eat right. I advocate for that so you can function, perform, and you're not on a bunch of medications and all that. But what do you bring that type of dude? What do you bring him? What do you have to offer him? And again, I'm saying this because women are saying to me that they are now, I've had more than one woman on more than one occasion, more than one email say to me, I realize now that men really don't care about that. And we had Kevin Samuels 3 years ago, he passed, 2 or 3 years ago he passed, saying the same thing. Nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to listen. Now, ladies are saying, yeah, I'm 50 years old, I'm 55, I'm 60 years old, and guys aren't not even looking at me, they're not even thinking about me. And I tell them I got this, I got that, I could take you out, I could fly you here, I could do this, we could both take it. They don't care nothing about that. They want me to make sandwiches and be nurturing. Yeah, Yeah. And this is surprising. It's surprising, not surprising. It's shocking. This is shocking. Who told you this? Who told you? Who told you that? It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. So listen, this is the difference between the Vivica Foxes and the David Banner. This is the difference. So if you're younger than that, you're watching this, you happen to be, 32, 33, get it together now. And I'm not saying that it's over for anybody who's over 45. I'm not saying that, right? I'm sure you can find love. I'm sure you'll find somebody who's on your level looking for the same thing. I'm sure that if you really put your, nose to the grind and stop being so picky. I think you have to stop being so picky. And I think that there's one thing that happens is that, probably for both, I would say for both sexes, is that you get more intolerable. Your patience decreases. So when you're 20, when you're 25, 30, the guy's not putting the toilet seat down, it's annoying. But now at 50, you're like, oh, I don't ever want to see this guy again because he can't put the toilet seat down. So you're gonna have to really lower your expectations. I'm saying, people don't want to say that, but I'm saying that you have to kind of lower your not expectations. Yeah, lower your expectations, lower your disqualifiers. Take some of those disqualifiers out. You really have to do that because guys are dying at that age, and they are, getting old and settled, just as set as you are in your ways or set in their ways. Another thing too is this whole marrying but living apart type of thing. You might have to go for that type of thing because you like your space, but you still want somebody to escort you to different functions, somebody to go to the movies with, but you can't share the space anymore. That might be a thing. I did a video about this. I had to recalibrate my own thinking about this. Like, man, do I really want to give this up and have somebody move in with me? Right? And I can't do what I want to do. Right? I like to read. Since I've been divorced, like you know how many books I've read since I've been divorced? Can't do that when you're married. You can't do that when you're married. When you're married and raising kids and stuff, you can't do all that. You can't be reading books. So, you want to give all that up? A lot of times I've noticed the ladies don't need to talk on the phone that much. Before, you had to talk on the phone every day. Now these ladies, they don't want to talk to you every day. They don't want to talk to you. Listen, every other day, and they're just doing what they're doing. Who knows if they have somebody else? I don't know. I don't know if they have somebody else. I don't know. You don't know. You don't know. A lot of hurt people out here dating after 50. All this baggage and trauma. That's why they don't want to live with somebody else. That's why they don't want to, they don't want to live with somebody else. They don't want to give their time. They don't want to talk. They don't, it's a different scene. Coupled with the internet, coupled with people sliding into their DMs, coupled with social media, coupled with the dating apps. It's a different environment, man. It's a different environment. So these are all considerations about dating after 50, man. And then how much do you like sex, and how important is that? Guys start to decrease and decline as far as their testosterone levels. And again, I say that you ought to lift weights, and you ought to eat right, and you ought to eat right, exercise, take care of yourself, so you can, your soldiers still saluting there, But dating after 50 is not easy. There's a lot of things you're going to have to overlook if you really want somebody. You have to ask yourself, do you really want to live with somebody, or are you guys good? And if you don't want to live with somebody, what's the point of getting married? I still would ask the question, what's the point of getting married? But I'm rethinking that, and maybe it's just for state benefits. So these are all things you have to think about. Dating after 50. dating after 50. It's all kind of things that you have to think about. Where you want to go, how you're going to get there, whose car, who's paying bills. Ladies aren't looking for that, right? I say it again. They're not looking for that much for a protector provider. They're just looking for someone more of a cuddle buddy to me. They're just looking for somebody just to hang out with some from time to time. And a guy still wants to, more than likely, still wants to be active sexually, physically. And if you don't want to do that, and some ladies are still saying, why is it such a big thing? This I don't want to. And some ladies are good to go every day, good to go. Some ladies are good to go. So you got to figure all that out, man. And some things that were intolerable, there's got to be a lessening of expectations. And this goes for both sides. I don't mean to sound one-sided in my presentation here, but you have to but for the men too, they have to lower their expectations, right? This woman might not call you every day. This woman might not be as emotionally available as the women that you had when you were younger. Because the women when you were younger probably want to talk every day. They want to do this. They want to hang out. They wanted to. And now these ladies today might not want to do that, right? Just come see me once a week. You don't got to sit there, right? Oh man, they like their space as much as you like your space. So, I don't know. Dating up to 50, man. I had told myself, man, I wanted to be in a serious committed relationship by the time I was 55, man. But I don't know. You got to be and the women are now saying you got to be a special man. You got to be a special type of man to come into my life because again they have everything: money, education, job. So you got to be very, very special. I don't know how special it is because I've seen some ladies with some dudes, and they talk about you got to be special and this, that, and the other. And I've seen the dudes. I'm like, this dude's not special. This dude's not special. But who am I to judge? It's what you like. But I'm saying the same thing. You got to be a special woman. You got to be a special woman to come into a guy's life, especially according to his standards, what he likes. Not what you like, not what you think they should like, not what you want them to like, but what the man really wants and likes. And I think that's a big disconnect that we're not at. We are not seeing eye to eye. Women think that I bring much to the table: my education, my career, my job, my 401k, my retirement, my Bitcoin collection, all this. Right? I bring this to the table. But you can't cook, can't clean. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. You're terrible in bed. Those are the things that men care about. 20 or 60, that's what they care about. Take care of me. So it's a change, and you got to be able to recognize that. So, I don't know. Those are just some of my thoughts, some of my opinions. I just thought I'd just drop this right here. Let me know if I'm right, wrong. Hit me in the comments section. Did I miss anything? And all that. So, dating after 50, what are your thoughts? What are your opinions?